Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be featuring Tier 10 Italian tank destroyer Minotauro. It is a relatively new tank as the line was introduced 6 months ago, and it's also very balanced TD. It is very strong on PC, but console meta is a bit different, and this tank is, if anything, on the very balanced, mainly because it's slow as well as it doesn't have very high alpha. It is technically an auto-loader, but doesn't really work or play like a traditional auto-loader where you can dump an entire clip and reload. Especially because its reload takes 8 seconds and it takes 20 seconds to reload the clip when you're fully equipped. So the playstyle would be very much identical if this TD was a single shot TD with 8 seconds of reload. And doesn't really make much difference or play as an auto reloader, because you can never dump your entire clip when you see an opening, as if there's a cross, the enemy would end up crossing that position, or if he's by himself, by the time it takes to empty a clip, which is 32 seconds, chances are someone else will shoot the tank as well. So it's essentially a single shot tank. It is a very good hull down tank. It has 10 degree of gun depression and impenetrable turret armor. So there's nothing you can really do if he's playing hull down. The only thing you can do is try to get around it or get a shot on his hatch, but you can only pen the hatch if it's if you have a height advantage. Otherwise, penning hatch is not easy either. The IS-4 did manage to get a shot on the lower plate, but he had to overexpose to do that, and took a shot in return as well. Sheridan is now pushing Minotauro, but Minotauro doesn't have a fully rotating turret. It only has 45 degrees right and left, but it's still enough where you can stop enemies from getting around you, especially in a corridor positions. The tank can also side scrape with the decent side armor, but the strength is essentially when it's hull down. Vitor managed to pen all 5 shots with this first clip, and is now reloaded with the second, and will now finish the IS-4, who is also engaged with the heavy tank on his right side. Vitor took the opportunity to push the IS-4 since he was distracted, and took him out of the game. There is a T10 at the bottom, and this is where the second strength of Minotauro is. If Minotauro hugs you and you don't have gun depression, there's nothing you can do because you can't pen its lower plate, and essentially you can't pen the turret anyways. And that's what's happened with T10. He missed the shot, and Vitor took this opportunity to push forward and face him, as since he only had 1 shot left, the T10 could have tried to get around him, but if he's facing him, T10 can't really move, and he can be safe while reloading. And the reload doesn't really take that long. In Minotauro, the premium is heat, but the heat has faster shell velocity than AP. So there's not really much point of using AP because it has less pen and less shell velocity. So if you can get used to the firing heat, where you know not to pen or hit the tracks or hit the space armor, heat is the way to go. You can also load an AT clip if you want to get those high rolls, because AT does have decent pen, and Minotauro has enough shells where you can afford to have 1 AT clip. At least I do. I keep a 1 AT shell, and especially when there are a lot of lightly armored tanks alive towards the end, or if there's 2 or 3 artilleries, those AT come in really handy, as I can kill any artillery with 2 shells as opposed to 3 if I had standard shells loaded. Vitor pushed the 60 TP and managed to put a couple shots in him. However, he's pushing 60 TP towards the rock, allowing 60 TP to gain height advantage and thus cancelling the effective armor. And 60 TP managed to pen the upper plate of Minotauro. And that wouldn't have happened if he was just face hugging him on a flat ground, but he was trying to push 60 TP, trying to off balance him, so he can't get a shot, but that kind of backfired there. as 60 managed to put a shot in his upper hull. He's now rotating to the middle of the map, which is the main area these days. He went to C8 and there were a lot of action there, but whenever I play C8 doesn't seem to be very populated in terms of tank, and usually only one side have a couple tanks, and I just don't able to get much damage. Whenever I go to C8 I usually play mid, as especially from this spawn, mid has very decent cross, as well as you can just climb the mid through a safe spot, which you doesn't get from the other spawn. As he was going to the mid, two of the enemy tanks get spotted. He's at 7200 damage, 3200 blocked, and 4 kills. The team is losing by a tank, but not really a big deal since it's just one tank. Sheridan gets exposed, put a shot in Sheridan. I think it's obviously it didn't hit the space armor, otherwise it wouldn't have penned. And that's the thing, right? Like, if you can get used to that concept that you have to make sure hit the tracks or the space armor, it is just the better option straight, as it has better shell velocity, as well as obviously the better pen. He did miss the shot on Leopard, overestimated the Leopard movement, as the Leopard kept going straight instead of turning, but didn't manage to put in the second shot when Leopard exposed himself again. He kind of rushed the shot, missed 430, and that's what I was saying. So he put one shot in Leopard and then Manticore was able to finish him. So that's why it's never really a true auto loader in sense. If anything, it could be kind of thought as a either single shot tank or an auto reloader as well, because you will never know how many shells this tank has. Does it have one shell, two shell, or the entire clip? It's just very difficult to keep track of, just because the difference between reloading a one shell or the entire clip is not that much, because it takes 8 seconds to reload a shell and 20 seconds to reload the entire clip. 432 gets crossing in the middle. However, Vitor was unlucky and he did miss another shot. He's at 8200, and whenever I'm that close and there's a possibility of hitting 10k, my aim starts to shake, because you do want to hit that magic 5-digit number, and sometimes you do end up rushing shots and miss easy shots. Did manage to pen 4032 this time. 432 exposes himself again, and Vitor took his time and sent him back to the garage. Sturf decided to push, but not really a problem for Minotauro, because his gun caliber overmatches the Sturf. Not to mention he's firing heat, and he doesn't really need to overmatch his heat. Will just has a better auto ricochet angle, so it doesn't really auto ricochet. So even if you had like smaller caliber but you're firing heat on the tier 9 Sturf, you'll pen it. But with the second shot, he also hit the 10k mark in Minotauro. You don't see a lot of 10ks with this tank, mainly for two reasons which I mentioned earlier, that it has slow speed. It's not the fastest TD. If anything, it's actually on the lower end when it comes to speed. And second, it doesn't have the big alpha, so you're only hitting enemies for 560, so you have to expose yourself more, or you have to pen more shots, which is not always easy, because once you pen someone once, they get in cover, and especially when you have a longer reload. So I cut the clip there because he spent 5 minutes to try to find the Sturf, but they weren't able to, and then the team decided to get on cap. And well, he would have got 11k if he could find Sturf, but unfortunately he couldn't. But 10.8k is nonetheless a very, very decent game for this tank. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.